Oh, hey, it's Caleb from Rokblokz. Today in the shop we have a brand new Bronco, but you already knew that. So let's go ahead and show you how to install our mud flaps. Hey guys, jokes aside, we are here with a brand new Bronco. We've been hearing lots of feedback about these and hearing about all the problems that these cars are getting rock chipped from here to hell. So we've got the solution, your Rokblokz mud flaps. Now let's go ahead and show you how to install them. Here we have the tools laid out that you'll need. You'll need a mallet to help press in your flange nuts. You'll need an 1/8 inch Allen key. You'll need some thread locker. You'll need a 5/8 socket or ratchet. We're going to use a combination of both of these to get at the mounting locations. The longer extension will be for the rear. We're going to use a ratchet or a wrench for the front. And for those of you who order and have a Sasquatch package without the anti-intrusion bars, your kit will include these extra M12 bolts with washers, and those will require a 3/4 inch socket. Here we have the front laid out. What you'll get in your kit is your flap. You'll get your A plate and your B plate. The B plate will come in 2 different versions. Here we have those 2 B plates laid out. This is our original one, and this will be the one for the Sasquatch package. And so we have that available in 2 options. So that way it will work with or without the anti-intrusion bar. And then you'll also get your front bracket. The front bracket here will mount to where the factory anti-intrusion bars are. We'll put clips on here, like so. We'll go ahead and just start preparing the flap for install. So your clips will slide down, and the extruded portion of the clip will rest on the smaller edge. That's the back side, and that's going to be pushed up against the fender liner. Go ahead, get those in place. Now that our bracket is ready for install, we'll go ahead, put the breakdown of the hardware on the screen right now. Now let's go ahead and prep our flap by assembling these 3 pieces together using the hardware here. First, you'll go ahead and press your number 10 flange nuts into the hex holes along here. On the same side is the logo and the etching. Now with that, we'll go ahead and flip it over, and these plates will be on the other side. Now that we've got the flap flipped over on the other side, we're going to go ahead, take some medium strength thread locker, and just put just a little dot on each of them. This is going to help aid in vibration resistance and just help keep those screws nice and tight. Just a little drop is good. Go ahead and put that away. Next, we're going to take our A plate. That's going to align with the holes in the flap here. We're going to flip it so that the etching is facing the same as all the other etching. And then you're left with the non-etched side on this side. And same goes with your B plate. We'll just align all the holes. And that's going to create your mount holes here, which will go ahead and correspond with the bracket. Now we're just going to take our number 10 1/2 inch machine screws. Put those in each of these holes. With those, we'll grab our 1/8 inch Allen tool. And we're going to get those just snug. Now we can go ahead, pick up our flap, flip it around, and I'll have you guys watch this side. We're going to tighten them till you see the nut and the flange just barely sink in, and just get them snug like that till it gets snug, and then just about 1/8 inch turn more, and then that nut is just going to sink into the material a little bit, and you're good. So we'll do that to all 8 of them. You can prep all 4 flaps this very same way. You can do it on the bench, which makes it easier than doing it out on the car. Keep all your little bits organized. Alright, now that we have those snug and we have our bracket prepared, we're able to go ahead, go to the front of the vehicle, and begin mounting. Now that we've got it up, got it on the lift, we're going to go ahead and locate the 2 bolts that are securing the anti-intrusion bar right here inside the front fender. It'll be this bolt and this bolt. Those 2 bolts right here, we're going to take our 5/8 socket and remove those. reach on in. Now that we've got those bolts out, we're going to set them aside. We're actually going to reuse them for install. You can keep your anti-intrusion bar. If you have the Sasquatch package and it doesn't have that, you'll want to make sure your flap has the plate that covers it, because this can be removed. We don't suggest it unless it came from the factory that way. Also here today, we have a Sasquatch package with 37s. When installing your kit, it will come with this extra bolt inside the anti-intrusion bar. This bolt will come from this hole here. Just remove it and you can use your provided bolts to mount your bracket on top. So now we're going to go ahead, take our bracket. The bracket is going to sit like this on top of there. And so we'll go ahead and we'll get started with our back bolt first. Put that down in. Get it started a few turns. Get our next bolt in. Get that started a few turns. Now we're going to take it, put this on tighten. We're going to adjust this. We're going to push the bracket assembly as tight as we can up against the fender liner here. And then we're going to secure it. You'll want to secure that to factory torque specs on that. Now we're good to grab our flap and begin mounting. Now we're going to grab our flap off of the bench, and how this is going to go is these teeth are going to sit in those holes there, and these holes will line up. And so we've designed this like we've designed our Jeep kit to be quick detach, so that you can take them off when you go rock crawling or get off-road and don't want the protection, mainly so they don't get hung up while you're rock crawling. They come off real quick, just a couple of thumb screws. And there you have it. Once you've got those 2 thumb screws tight, your front is installed. You can repeat those same steps on the other side. Now let's go ahead and show you how to install the rear. Here we have the rear laid out. What you'll get in your kit is your flap. You'll get your A, B, and C plates for mounting to the flap. You'll get your rear mount bracket and the hardware to accompany that. We'll go ahead and put a full breakdown of the hardware on the screen right now. Before we head over to the car, we're going to pre-assemble our flap on the bench right here. How we're going to do that is start with our A plate. You'll notice it has these hex holes. We're going to take our A plate, we're going to flip it so that the etch side is facing down. We're going to take our number 10 flange nuts and we're going to press them in from this side. If you're having troubles getting them in with your thumb, as they are pretty snug, you can go ahead and use a light mallet to tap them in. Now that we're back with our mallet, we're just going to go ahead, and I'm not even going to hit it. I'm just going to push it and then lean my body weight into it. With them aligned, that's enough pressure to just go ahead and seat them. Now that those are seated, we can continue with installing. So we're going to flip that back over so that the etching is facing up, and we're going to align it back here. But first we're going to go ahead and put a drop of thread locker on each of these. Just a little drop. There we go. Now we'll lift our flap up and align all of our holes like so. And then we'll take our B plate and place that on over top. And then finally we'll place our C plate, aligning it with these 3 holes being left, and so that it aligns perfectly with the holes here and these inner 5 holes. So now that we have 2 different layers, we're actually going to use 2 different size screws. The smaller screws will be for these 3 outer holes, and the larger ones will be for these 5 inner holes. Now with those started, we'll go ahead, pick it up, and same as the front, we're just going to torque these down till it just barely seats the head of the flange, and so that way it's snug, but it doesn't overly distort the flap. So we'll go ahead and just tighten all 8 of those screws. Alright, with those fully tightened down, the last step, unlike the front, the clips are actually going to remain on the flap, so we're going to go ahead and those are just going to slide into place right here. Oops. Go ahead, slide into place right here. Now that we've got those clips in place, we can take our flap, our bracket, and extra mounting hardware, head over to the vehicle, and begin installing. Now that we're at the rear of the vehicle, where we're going to need to get to is just right up under here, right at the body mount bolts. That's where our bracket will be installing. So let's go ahead, we'll drop down, show you how to install the bracket, and then we'll come back up and show you how to mount your flap. Alright, now that we got the cameraman laying on the ground, you guys can see the nuts here that are holding your body mount bolt. We're going to reuse the bolts and studs there to mount our bracket. So we went ahead, grabbed our 15mm or 5/8 socket, and we're going to go ahead and undo those. With those undone, we're going to grab our bracket, the included washers. We're going to take our washer, put it over top of the nut, take our bracket, mount it up in here, get it started by hand, the one that'll support our bracket. Then we'll go ahead, grab our second nut, placing the washer on the top side, and starting that one by hand. Now these holes have some adjustment in them, so you can adjust it and position it inwards or outwards. We're going to position it so that it follows the body line, and then we'll go ahead and we're going to tighten those back down. You'll want to tighten those to factory torque specs, and then we'll go ahead and show you how to mount the flap up top. Now that we're back up top, we're going to go ahead, we're going to grab our assembled flap. How the bracket is going to interact with the flap is there's a slot here, so we'll go ahead and we'll slide it up from the bottom here, putting it over top of the bracket right there, getting it into place. So you can go ahead, tuck your plastic piece out of the way. We'll go ahead, push the flap up like so. If it's too tight, you can readjust your bracket so that there's more space here. Get that adjusted and up. Once you get it up into position, your thumb screws will align with the slots in the bracket like so. And those are just going to thread into those M6 clips. The rear has some adjustment inwards and outwards, so you can grab your flap and pull it in or out. Adjust it to your liking. We're going to pull these all the way out. Fully tighten those down. Now that you've fully secured your thumb screws, that's how you install the rear. You can repeat those same steps on the other side. Thanks for watching.